fill our lives up with. But what most of us don't realize is music actually has a subconscious effect on like how we perceive what's going on around us. We all know how there's music in movies, and we all kind of love it for the most part. But what a lot of us don't really realize is music can affect the way we perceive what's going on during the movie. So in order to show this, we created 4 pieces of music, each of a different emotion. So a happy one, a sad one, a scary one, and like an inspiring one. And then we found 3 short films that we put the music to, and invited people to come over and watch the films. And then we asked them some questions about the films that pertain to what was going on and everything. And then compare the results of the testing depending on what song they were listening to with the film.
Okay, so this is one of our like really interesting sources that we ended up using. So in different wine stores, while people would like walk in, they would play during one test they would play like pop music or like hip hop music. Another test, like with completely different people, they'd play classical music. And they like analyzed like how long people spent in the store, and like what their purchases were like, and like how they just like acted in general. And when they played pop music, like their movements were more like direct, and they like went to like a specific part of the store, and they were like out in a faster time. And also like the music or like the prices they paid were just like cheaper in general, like on average. But when classical music was played, like all their wine purchases were like significantly higher, and people kind of like lingered around, and their movements were more like at ease and stuff. So I thought that was like really interesting, because that was like a super subconscious effect, because they obviously did hear the music, I'm sure, but they didn't think like, oh, this is gonna change, I'm gonna buy it. But it like completely changed how they acted, which is really interesting. And this is a really cool one that I also found about how music can be like healing. So in like rehab places, where people had been struggling with like either like hard times in the past, or like with decisions they had made that like they had regretted, they played them rap music that had like kind of like similar messages dealing with like hardship and struggle. So the like the patients could feel like they could like relate more like kind of to the music, and then they helped them make original rap songs to kind of like let out their like feelings and like their struggles, and like kind of like help them get past what they've maybe been like stuck on in their life. So music can be a way to like let out like just like how you feel about yourself and about life, and can help you like understand life more and stuff. So I thought that was really interesting.
And then the way we were able to write all the music, we just used our previous knowledge from one music theory and just like being able to play instruments and stuff. And also we listened to a bunch of soundtracks and composers like Hans Zimmer and John Williams and Michael Giacchino, and then used that to inspire us to be able to write our own music. Okay, so for our happy song, we wrote it in a major key, which is like the most happy, cheery kind of key, I guess. It's what most pop songs that you think of are usually written in, and just like it makes you feel really good. And we used a really simple ABA structure, where we start off with a theme and then go into like a really upbeat part in the middle with a melody, and then it returns back to the original piano. We used upbeat drum to make it feel light, and we used high instruments to give it like sort of a innocent, light, young feel to it. Okay, and then this is the song.
luckily he's like a millionaire and somehow had the money to like pay for it. So we were able to, for this song especially, we whistled in this song with our own like whistling, but most of the but most of our instruments, like the drums and the synth and the little like 8-bit solo in the middle, and the piano, those are all like MIDI sounds, which means like, so in Logic you can like select the sound, like any instrument you want basically, and you can play it, well you can basically just play it. So we have it hooked up to this keyboard, so like if you wanted to play like a trombone, we didn't actually have a trombone, you could select like trombone on Logic, and then when you press a note on the keyboard, it sounds like a trombone. So it was really helpful for us to be able to make songs that sound like professional, because we were able to just like have instruments that sounded good, just like already built in. So most of this song was all like Logic sounds, so that was really fun to make. This is like our fastest song we made. We made it like really fast.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, but it was really fun to make. And then our inspiring song, it has like a big like triumphant feel, like a powerful feeling to it. And this is our only song that has it's like every single track is a Logic sound, like a Logic sound. Because in all of our other songs we had at least one track that was us doing something, but this one we just thought it would just be most professional to have all the Logic sounds in there. And so it has a really big feel to it. It has several layers. Our happy song, like it was really cool, but it only had like a few little layers, and they're all kind of simple in themselves. But our inspiring song has like several layers, and makes it have like a really rich, like big sound. And we used like standard instruments that are used in like movie soundtracks. So we use like string instruments, brass instruments, woven instruments, and we use some percussion, and we use like a choir setting too. And to kind of have like that like big feeling. And one of the parts ended up kind of sounding like Black Panther. I don't know if any of y'all seen that movie, but that's a really good movie. And we had like really big like dynamic changes, and we also like, so at first this is like our longest song to make, because at first there's like two like main types of action songs that we were trying to like write with. The first we started writing like Hans Zimmer, which he's done movies like Batman and Inception and Interstellar. And his music is really like, it's super like, all the chords are like really like, it has like a complex like chord progression, I guess. And like, it's like really dark and big sounding. So we started trying to write like that just because we wanted to, but it was kind of really hard to make a good melody, and we were struggling like really hard. And so then we ended up listening to some like older style action music, which would be like by John Williams, and we realized like the style changes between those, and that really helped us a lot. And this song took us like 13 hours to make, because I would go over to his house and we would just try to write the songs, and like I would go over to his house like 12 hours, but we didn't end up like even like starting a good part of this until like the last part of it, because it took so long for us to figure out how to write how we wanted to. So that was definitely our longest song to make. Also with the dynamic changes, the happy song is kind of like linear with its dynamics, like it's all about the same level of loudness, except it kind of goes down a little bit right before the very end. But this song has like super hype, like intense moments, but also has like really quiet part in the middle, and there's also a tempo change in there. So yeah. Oh, and it ends on a huge like major chord that's like really powerful.
We used instruments that were a little bit lower overall than we did for the first two songs because we wanted to give it more of like a deep, heavy feeling versus the light feelings of the odes. We used a little bit of a slower tempo to feel it, make it feel more lethargic almost. And then we put a bunch of reverb, which is just like the sound that you get when you go into a big cave or something and then clap. It just like makes everything sound super distant and far apart and like spaced out. And we also used a bunch more of like our own sounds. Like Jeffy played the French horn, like in actual real life, and then we both sang. But we wanted to make it feel more real, rather than just like, I don't know, fake like the Happy song did. Okay.
Also, that scream thing at the end, we were just editing the song, and then he screamed just for fun.
Yeah,
and we were like,
because I was like, it took so long to record that vocal part, and I was so happy, so like, ah! At the end. And we just put it in another track, and put as much reverb as possible on it, so it was like, made it sound.
And our last song was our scary song. Also, something that we figured out last night that was really interesting when we were like looking at the similarities is our sad and our scary song have the most recordings that we did ourselves, which I feel like added kind of like a sense of like Josh was saying, it feels more real and more like, I guess, dark, especially with the styles we're writing in, like sad and scary. So these two songs were almost all just us. Our sad song, so I was playing horn and we were singing. The only like logic sound was like a piano really, and our scary song we only had we had a few like little synth or like scary bass parts, but mostly we did a lot of like it was really fun to write the song because we did a lot of like crazy things to make a lot of the sound effects. We had like a spatula and a knife, and we like ran it across, and at the end we like went really fast, so it sounded scary. We screamed. We slammed his door. Josh's mom was an English teacher, and so she had all these papers laying around with like a bunch of sentences on them. So he started at the beginning of one, and he whisper read it, and I started at the end, and I whisper read it, and it was like, and so that was really scary too. So we did just a bunch of like really like crazy things like that, and it was really fun to make. So like I was just saying, a bunch of samples were used. Also, something we found when we were like researching and listening to horror songs, a lot of them have like a repeating like set of notes over and over again that's really kind of like creepy. And so we decided like the main melody is really simple on the song, but it's mostly the parts all around it that are really complex. And we added a lot of reverb, which he was saying was basically like echo, and it sounds really big and like crazy. And we actually, well, Josh played the flute on the song. We had to learn how to play it in like 2 minutes. And we got his sister, we actually didn't even mean to do this, but this made it more scary. His sister used to play cello, but she didn't really remember how, so we had to like help her hold down the notes, but her bow was like weird and it sounded all scratchy and scary, and it made it sound like really scary. And we also like messed with the tuning, which is something you can do in Logic, which is really cool. So we would like purposely put things just a little bit out of tune, which made it sound super like on edge and everything. And we also faded our song in, which is really scary kind of. So yeah. Also for the end, how we did that is we have 2 pianos and on track on Logic, and we started one sharp and we started one flat, and they both, the one that was sharp kept going more and more towards being in tune, and the one that was, wait, what? Or no, it was the other way around. Oh no, one of them was a little bit sharp, one was a little bit flat, and one of them kept going more and more sharp, and the other one kept going more and more flat, and it started getting like more and more like dissonant towards the end. So yeah, that was an awesome song. It was so fun.
And then, in order to like prove that each of these are actually the emotion that we're trying to get across, we had people come over and listen to them, and we asked what they thought about it as a control group. And the people that listened to the happy song said that it was cheerful, momentum giving. The epic song was like powerful and strong. The sad one was blue or lamentable, and the scary one was anxious and dreadful. Okay, so these are the films that we used, and then put music to it. I put the names of what song it was on the film, but it wasn't there when we actually did the testing. Oh yeah. And then these are the questions that we asked. So just think about the questions for the different songs that you hear. Who is the bald man and what is he doing? What is his intent with the woman? How did this scene make you feel? And then how would you perceive the scene with no music? To the computer.
Yeah, to find these scenes, we were gonna originally make videos with us in it, but then we thought everyone would like laugh because because like they would know us and stuff.
Yeah.
So we went on YouTube and we tried to find like scenes that were neutral enough to where when we played our songs with them, they could produce like different results based on the music. So these are just scenes off of YouTube. So yeah.
gonna ask the questions that we asked for with that. Great,
Yeah.
so we asked, who are those men running? What is the device? Where did he go? And what happened to the running man at the end?
Also, we paused when we were actually testing. We paused these videos at like certain points, and then we asked the questions. So like we would pause it, like I think we paused it like somewhere around here, and asked the first question like who were the running like men or whatever. So they didn't watch it all the way through, and then we asked them, we like paused it like specific places, and then asked them how they feel about it.
Okay, one thing I wanted to say about this one. Did you tell we didn't play the end where he's running away from the car? That's because it didn't really make sense with the music at all. So we just omitted that question for that test.
So yeah, that's what we did for that. And we got some I think we got some really interesting results, which we're about to get to in a second. We got some results that we didn't even expect to get, which is really good too.
Okay, so how we ended up doing the scoring was we created a 0 to 15 scale where we said 0 was completely dead and disconnected and like super horrible, and then 5 was kind of sad, 10 was inspiring, and then 15 was happy or pure. And we judged each person's response that they gave us because it was a short answer. We just judged the response based on the scale and gave them a number that was most close to that, and then we just averaged all the people's scores from that question for each song, and then put it into this graph. And this song or this film, the love film, actually worked the best for us because happy ended up being the highest number for all of them except for the first one and the last one, but that one didn't really count. And then it was sad and then scary for the lowest. And the last one is kind of opposite because it's how would you perceive the clip film music, and both the people that watched it with scary and people that watched it with the sad music thought it would have been a lot happier without the music, but the people that watched it with the happy music thought it would have been like a little bit less happy, so they put answers that were not as good. And then
Yeah, well, I thought, to sum up what he was saying, I thought that was really interesting about
Yeah.
the no music part. Because that was definitely not what I was expecting. Some people say that. I thought that was really interesting. So next is the picnic short film. So like Josh was saying, so like the higher the number is like the more like happy or like innocent like it feels. So like 8, we went up, it was like a scale from like 0 to 15. 8 was somewhere about the middle, but I think it was like 8, somewhere between 8 or 9 up to 15, which is like really happy and like innocent. And as you went farther lower, it was like sadder and darker and scarier, and stuff like that. So this test didn't actually like work for us as well as the love one did, because let's see. Well, at the end, at the beginning, wait, I need help with this.
so like you can kind of just ignore the happy value for the last question. That's one we omitted. We just I think we averaged the other ones. I mean, I don't know why we did that, but for the other ones, the first two, the happy song like made sense, and so people answered like happy responses. But for where did he go, it didn't really make sense at all with what was going on. So the people that watched it with the action song thought it was like the coolest and like most like happy, I guess. But the people that watched it with the happy song were probably like confused because it was like happy music, but he gets transported to this dark alley. And so we kind of noticed that if the music doesn't really make any sense with what's going on, then it doesn't get your point across that you're trying to make it happy with happy music. It kind of might even do the opposite, just because people are like confused and like disconnected from the scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's something that we definitely realized that we didn't even think about going into it, is that if your music doesn't really like correlate with what's going on, then it can have like a big disconnect. So this was like, even though this didn't like get the results we wanted, it was still like good results because it just like, it helped us understand more about like music and movies and stuff.
And this is the film we didn't show you, because it's basically the same thing as the picnic one. It was a short film where the guy, it's a continuation of the second one, where he just keeps on going around and stops bad people. He kind of becomes like a hero.
Yeah, he keeps teleporting around.
Yeah, and then at the end he gets shot and he dies. But it was just one story that couldn't really be changed about what was happening depending on the music. So our responses were super varied and didn't make a whole lot of sense with like changing what was happening depending on the music. And so that was something we definitely were able to pull out of this thesis, is that music can definitely change perception, like we saw with the love film. But as you try to use films that don't fit, then, or if you try to use a film that tells a story the entire time, then music more plays a part of accompanying the film rather than telling people what to think about it. And so music can't really change perception all that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alright, so we had some limitations, definitely. Mostly, as you can see, they were all had to do a little bit of time. So the first one, we were gonna make more genres of music because we chose these 4 because they were all kind of like extreme in the ways that they were. So it's like happy versus sad. Like those are complete opposites. Action was kind of on its own, and scary was a complete like separate one. We wanted to do like a peaceful song also and see how that would like affect some of the movies, but we didn't really have time to get to do that. And we also wanted to experiment with different numbers of instruments, so like mess around with our songs and see if like if just the number of instruments themselves could also change the power or the emotions felt of the viewers. And also, we actually had to change our thesis like throughout the process. Because at first, we were doing how music affects emotion, like just by itself, and we were also gonna do how music affects like visual stimuli. But like we really only had time to test how it affected movies itself. We didn't really have a lot of time to test how it just affected purely emotions. So if we had more time, we could have maybe added a few more like parts to it. So kind of like similar like you were saying, we were going to test how like two different types of movies also, like a montage of fast clips versus like a one-shot kind of story, like he was saying. Also along with the dialogue, to see if the music could like, how the music could affect scenes that were just dialogue or scenes that were like telling a story. We didn't really get to test that out very much because we didn't have any time also. But I think we were able to get some really good results and do some good testing, but if we had more time, we could have maybe gone a little deeper in. Okay.
Any questions?
Had you selected your films before you started writing the music?
No, we wrote the music first.
Okay. How much editing did you have to do to your tracks or your films, or is that serendipity? If so, you got some good karma floating.
I know.
Because there were really cool transitions in there that like hit your cues pretty perfectly.
Right. So we didn't change the music at all for any of them. We did change the speed of the horror love song so that would fit the length. But we didn't really do any cut changes. We just had to happen to be pretty lucky of getting some
Well,
things.
congratulations.
Yeah.
There's some really cool.
Yeah.
Good for you.
If the duration of the short film matched the times of the songs that you tested them with, how do you think your results would have changed?
Honestly, don't really know.
I feel like it depends on like what all was happening in the film, because in the one with the guy teleporting around, like if you keep watching, like a lot of different things happen that are all like different types of emotions. So I think it have to depend on the film. But I think for some of our films, it probably wouldn't have worked as well, and our songs would have had to been longer to fill the time too. But yeah, that would have been interesting to do also.
When you were making songs that convey the different emotions, would you just make one song and keep tweaking it? Or would you like make maybe several different songs and decide which one
So
fit that emotion best?
we just made one song for all of them except for Action, for the heroic one. The heroic one, we started a song and then we realized it was really bad because we tried to use a bunch of crazy like 7 chords and things that sounded really nice, but we couldn't come up with a melody that fit it very well and like felt inspiring to you. So we ended up just taking inspiration from like Superman or something that's super simple and just like makes you feel epic.
Yeah, we just like, well, we knew the 4 emotions we wanted to do, well, except kind of not with Action, like you were saying, with inspiring song. So we would just like, I would just go to his house for like a 12-hour day, and we would just like try to come up with something. Well, first we would listen to music, like so for the horror song, we listen to like scary songs and stuff, and we like listen to different things, like techniques in them, like special effects stuff, and then we would just try to like, usually start with I feel like we started with the bass line, or no, we started with the melody, that thing, and then we built like everything around that, and we just kept adding more parts.
How did you choose the keys of the songs that you did? Was there a reason to the key you chose?
Kind of with the Action one, it was just like a nice thing, like, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But not really.
Yeah. He actually, the reason we even came up with our, like the da-da-da thing at the beginning of the Action songs, because we were so mad, and we've been trying for so long, so we were just literally like sitting in our chairs, and we were just like done, and he just like walked over to the piano, and he just played something, and he wasn't even trying to like make it sound good, and we were like, and it was that da-da-da thing, so that's what would happen with that one. I think we chose A for our horror song. I just like I just think it's cool just to write an A. Like an A. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, A minor is pretty easy to work around. Sad. I don't really know why we did C minor. I'm not sure. But there wasn't really like specific reasons that we did them. It just kind of like worked out. So.
Did you find that in writing the pieces of music that you like had an idea and then you made the song turn into your idea, or did you find that like you were kind of like exploring things and then you discovered stuff that you weren't expecting and made that stuff work? Does that make sense? Like you had a goal or not a goal?
Yeah, it was like we had a goal of the emotion, right? And then we came up with some kind of melody. I think the happy song, we just made up that chord progression with the piano, and then we were like, hey, a whistle would sound cool here, and then hey, this, and then Chaffee just like improv'd a melody with the synth over the middle part, and I came up with like a drum beat, and it just kind of fell together. With the action song, we had more of like an idea of this is kind of where we're gonna want to go with it. So it just depended, I guess, song by song. Savon.
Do you think, like, how do you think your results would change if you had found the clips initially and found inspiration from those to write your songs? And so, like, when you set out to do the happy song, okay, this, like with the lovers, say, okay, they're a newlywed couple, they're happy. And then, like, then if you went back with the sad song, okay, like, oh, one of them died or something, like, you came up with these storylines before, and then that's what I got from it.
Yeah.
If you came up with these storylines before and then wrote from that, do you think your results would be any different?
Probably.
Yeah, actually, our mentor, which you helped us a lot, so thank you. But he actually talked to us about doing that. Like a lot of like movie music writers will get sent like the clips first to write their music to. That way, they like writing the music to the movie, and that kind of helps. That would probably have helped a little, definitely some. But I think, like Mr. Clay was saying, we got kind of lucky with some of the transitions and stuff. But that would have definitely helped, I think. So that's something that we should definitely look into more.
Like when y'all wrote the music, did you just like hash out most of your ideas like in Logic, or did you do any like charting or like notating?
I think we just did it in Logic and then talked about it. Just talked through like what we're gonna do with it, and then we recorded it. We didn't do much like writing out and stuff.
Did y'all have the same group of people watch one short film with all the music?
No.
Or did you have like
We
one
had-
group watch one short film with this music and then do that for like every single song?
Yeah, so we had one group watch each short film, each with a different song, and then we had another group do each short film with a different song for each one, so that people aren't watching the same film with different music, so that we were trying to make sure that there wasn't previous bias to what the film was about, so that they would just be watching it fresh with that music.
Yeah, that was good job. I forgot to mention that. That was good. Yeah, because there wouldn't want to be biased or anything.
I know you were in the middle of this, but sometimes it's the most difficult time to get a perception on things, but were you even surprised at how your perceptions changed with the clips as it related to the music changes?
Yeah, for sure. Like with the love film, we just found it. We watched this whole short film, and then we're trying to decide on what clips we should use from it. And we were like, this will probably be good because there's not any words or dialogue in it. It was just literally music the whole time anyway. So we just cut out that music and put our music to it, not really expecting anything. But then we saw what happened when we put the different music with it, and it was like really cool to like see how our perception of what was going on changed.
Yeah, like he was saying with the love and like with the happy music, it felt happy, but then with the scary music and with how we slowed it down, it felt really creepy.
Yeah.
That one definitely, I was like, whoa.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming.